Hello. Sorry I missed last week, but I'm here today. So there you go. Let's have a listen to what you guys have been working on. Also, my camera. Oh, wait, no, might not be too low. After I hit my slouch. Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Okay, cool. Let's have a listen. All right. First up, we got PGX. Save Me with Erose.
Desolation calls to me. I'm safer waiting patiently. If you believe in me.
Currently muted. Can I be moved down? Okay, sure. I'll move you a few down. Submit tracks. Yep, that sounds good. You can submit tracks if you make changes. And we can have a listen. Okay, so we're gonna come back to the PGX one because I guess PGX can't listen right now. So instead, we're gonna listen to Retinhu, which sounds kind of like a Pokemon name. Japan. So, okay, I really like parts of this. But they kind of feel disjointed. Like the arrangement feels weird to me. And maybe right now that's just where it's at. You're just kind of playing around with ideas. I think that this section here, although I like the idea of it, it got a little, it's a bit messy in terms of like what bass note is happening. I guess it's not really that bad. I think there's just some moments where the chords get a little complex, and the kick drum is kind of so long and ringing out. It's playing a bass note, but the bass note never changes. And then there's the side chain is so deep that the bass note, which is like the root of the chords that are being played, is being sucked out completely and replaced with this kick drum that's playing a single note. So it gets a little confusing. Like there, when it goes down, down, when it goes down, the kick drum kind of feels like it doesn't quite go down, if that makes sense. But I think the biggest issue right now is you got to figure out what the song is going to be in terms of an arrangement. Because right now, that doesn't even sound like it's in the same key. No, I guess it is, but there's a lot of really cool ideas, but they're just kind of thrown at the wall, and some of them have stuck. If I were you, I would probably figure out how to, I mean, this could be like a bridge section or something, but like, Like if you started the song there, I think it makes more sense to me. And like this drop is super fun. And then it goes back to the jazzy section. This to me is a better start of an arrangement. Now, obviously it's only like a minute long, so you're gonna have to figure out how to turn it into a full song. Not to say you can't use that first drop section. I would probably use it as a bridge. This to me is a better drop section for this track. It's kind of melodic and jazzy and stuff. And then it goes into like this super cool fast drop section, comes out, goes back to jazzy again. So you're kind of establishing this like jazz vibe. And then you're going into this crazy, like the drop is really fun. And it's almost like it's kind of a little unrelated to the jazzy, but not really. I think it's a nice contrast and it doesn't feel out of place. The rest of the track kind of just felt a bit arbitrary. Like you're just like, here are some ideas I have and here are some more ideas I have. So I think you're armed with some great great material to work off of. But if it was my arrangement, it would probably look something a little more like this, I think. If this makes sense. I'm just kind of really roughly placing some stuff around. But like, even that, I mean, like we're still only at 2 minutes. So like you could probably double up this drop section and do something kind of a little, like change the sound of the synth, but kind of do the same thing and maybe change up the top drums or something and add a riser just to give it a bit more like, oh, we're going somewhere, and then a breakdown, and then a build up, and then maybe another one of those like double drops with some more variety added in. And then you could maybe do like this weird drop section as like a bridge, and then either that bridge could take you to the outro, or maybe you do another drop section. I'm just kind of like roughly piecing this together, but now we're up to 3.5-4 minutes long. This is like the arrangement of a full song. And I think it makes more sense to do it in this manner, because I really like the jazzy kind of the woo-woo sections, and I like the drop sections, but the arrangement, the way that you had it just felt like, here are some ideas. So, okay, cool. This one is Rame. Is that like Rayhem without a few letters? And Soft Wintu. Okay. Pre-shush ego. Pre-shush. Is that like the ego that somebody has before somebody says shh to them and then their ego drops because of that?
Had one foot in the grave when you said it, calling me out for nothing. Wow, it's pathetic. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing a slow left.
Where the fuck is the downbeat? Hold on. Okay, right. I think right here. Oh shit. You're on a big kind of like emo guitar kick, eh? Fuck, where's the downbeat now? Right here. Okay. I'm not sure about this little chuggy part. I don't know what it's accomplishing. I wonder what it would be like if it was just this instead. Sorry, one sec. My camera's doing weird things. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, okay, so you say there should be vocals there. That's fine, but I still No, sorry, I don't like clicking links. So just do it like as a 320 kilobit per second MP3. Okay. I like this arrangement better, even if there was like vocals or something in the other section. And I think with more massaging, this would create a bit better of like a trajectory towards the drop section. I'm just not really sure. Oops, I accidentally slowed and reverbed your track. Well, I didn't, not the reverb part. Oh, for fuck's sakes. There we go. I mean, like, okay, maybe if there's vocals there, but it sounds like like I'm like headbanging before I feel like I should be headbanging or something. I don't know. To me, that just makes more, the trajectory is better if you took that section out of the start. Now, maybe with vocals, it's different, but anyway, when we get to the drop, I like the sound design on the basses, but I find that they're a bit too screechy almost, like there's some offensive frequencies happening in an offensive manner. Yeah, like 3200 hertz. I also am wondering, so you kind of have a call, well, you don't kind of have a call and response. You have a call and response, and then the sound design stuff. But underneath the call, there's still kind of like sound design things happening, and I find them a little distracting from the call. Like there's like a bass, it's just like blah, 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 like just kind of like going underneath the call, and I don't find that it's really necessarily adding to the call section. I wonder now if you just simplified it to a sub bass, maybe it loses too much power or something. But I find like the bass that's in the background underneath the call is demanding too much attention on itself. When I'm listening to it, a part of my attention is on that part, and then another part of my attention is kind of listening to like the bass in the background. I'm just wondering if the bass right here is it different? It's like the same bass, but it's doing something different than wherever the start is. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably worth trying, just simplifying the bass sound underneath the call, so that we have a more clear kind of vision as to what the call is, and then the sound design can come in as the response, because it's the response. I find the vocals are, there's a whistle in the S's. Yeah, right there. So it could be a de-essing thing, or maybe a little EQ pull down in the whatever frequency, like 8 grand or something. $8,700, somewhere between 8,500 and 9,000. There's like a resonant whistle to the S on the vocals.
But I never saw it coming. I was leaving out the back door, engine running. Still, I guess you left with something. You'll do it again just like it's nothing. Tell me you're not always like this.
Okay, the next thing I'm thinking about,
Out the back door engine.
all the vocals thus far, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. All the vocals so far have kind of been the same melody. Like every line, I mean, I'm sure there's some slight variations and stuff, but for the most part, we don't get a break from that da-da, like the
Out the back door engine running. Still, I guess you left with something.
sure, okay, we got away from it a little bit there.
But I'll never. Tell me you're not always like this.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm waiting for the vocal to resolve, and it never kind of feels like it resolves melodically.
Think I'm seeing the smoke left. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm feeling the knife twist. You better calm down, it's getting out of hand. Never gonna be more than you got your plan. Wouldn't wanna touch your precious ego, man. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely a lot of great ideas here. I find, or wait, maybe it's here.
Never gonna be more than you got your.
In this section, the vocalist kind of goes down lower in the register, and I find it kind of gets lost in the mix. I think you're gonna have to get a bit more creative, because it's not just a volume thing. It's also the fact that the vocals are now lower, like in pitch, so they're not cutting through the mix as well. And I find that I can't really understand what the vocals are saying very well in this section.
Wouldn't wanna touch your precious ego, man. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing the smoke left. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm feeling the knife twist.
I feel like we're missing a part of the vocal that does something melodically that makes me feel like we have arrived somewhere, because all of these vocal lines they really lead to the next section, which leads to the next section, which leads to, I don't feel like we're getting to the place where it's leading melodically. I feel like melodically it's building up a lot of anticipation, but it's not really, I don't feel like I've got that like little hook repetitive line that makes me feel like we're there, you know. I feel like we're constantly going there, but we haven't got there yet. There's no conclusion line yet. Okay, that makes sense. I like that, like the track is catchy. I like the melody and stuff. Yeah, I think the biggest thing I would say is the sound design is a bit hard on the ears at moments. I think that the sound design also gets in the way of like the call, which those are the kind of two things I mentioned. And then yeah, the thing with the melody of the vocals, I feel like something that really gives like a payoff, like this is where we were headed the whole time, you know. But besides that, it's pretty good. I like this. I like how you're like using this kind of emo guitar like vibe that you've been doing over the past few tracks that you've sent in. It's an interesting technique. Try to search for full arrangement. Yeah, no, I think you've definitely got the arrangement. I still kind of don't think that one little section here is necessary at the start of the track. I feel like it kind of delays getting into the track needlessly. Maybe it would be different if the vocals that come in are like, oh wow, we really need those vocals, you know, like those are great vocals and this section is amazing and should be here. But right now, obviously without the vocals, and even with me trying to imagine vocals on it, I'm just thinking like all this is serving is to delay that song from happening, because we're just making the intro longer, and I'm not really sure why. So keep that in mind. But overall, pretty cool. Okay. Wow, that's cool looking. That is a Wow. Okay. Let's have a listen. It's Owaki. I don't know how to say these names half the time. Deja Vu. Yeah, okay, I'm going to stop it here for a sec. I think what you should do is you should take the vocal that is trying to exist over this drop, and I think you should put it in this section where there's room for it, you know? And then you could maybe take a line from the vocal and you could like repeat it in the drop or use it kind of as like a little, a tasty little element in the drop. But trying to make the vocal like deliver line after line after line on top of this trance beat that is like very loud is going to be a challenging endeavor. And you just kind of like, you kind of have like a perfect opportunity to like put it right here. Like it's kind of asking for vocals, really. Yeah. So like that's cool. I like the little, the vocal kind of choppy thing. That's cool. But I don't think you're making the best use of this time. If we got time, I sent mine. Okay. Oh, sick. Yep. I will. There's a few that I haven't downloaded yet. I'll grab it in a sec. Anyway, yeah, I think that you have this perfect opportunity and you might have to chill this section out just a little bit. Like kind of delay how you're opening up like low pass filters and stuff as you're getting closer to the drop and allow the vocal to come through in full clarity and then hit us with the drop. And now you can maybe just kind of use little bits and pieces of the vocal and that's not quite as important that we understand the words, and we might hear the melody of the line and know what the words were from the breakdown. So it's kind of a win-win. Let's keep going. I may send one as well. Okay, sounds good. On my VCV patch again. VCV. I don't like an analog synth or something. I mean, I like the track though. It's very like I'm trying really hard to win some tickets in a arcade racing game. They're like the little tickets that you can trade in for like those sticky toys that you go whoosh, and it's like a little rubber hand and it sticks to the wall. Anyway, I think the track is cool. I think the biggest issue is really just trying to fit the vocals where they're like not supposed to be. I think that putting them there is going to be way better. And that's basically the rest of it. I kind of initially felt produced by Inspector. Yes, it is me by myself. Initially, I thought that maybe the sub range was a little like there's so much energy in the low, like in the bass from the kick drum once the pitch envelope of the kick drum goes yung, yung, yung. But I felt like the sub bass wasn't necessarily filled out. That's why I don't know if you noticed I kind of soloed this when I started listening. So I would maybe just try making your sub bass a bit louder and so that it fills in the gaps between the kick drum. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a lot louder, but I think it could be a little bit louder because right now, if we listen to the sub range, we hear, and then in between that, we hear a little bit of the note that's being played on the sub bass. And maybe if the balance was a little bit tipped in the bass's favor rather than the kick drum's favor, then I think that might fill out the track a little bit more in the sub range. But besides that, just give that a shot. Try just taking your vocal thing and like sliding it over here, and then maybe using like the chopped up vocal thing that you have here now. The ba-boo boo, whatever. Maybe that could be in the drop. I don't know if it would come through because the drop is so kind of filled out. But I almost feel like if you just like traded spaces between the vocals that are in the drop and the vocals that are in the breakdown, it might be better. The last track on SK has a great balance. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure you're right. Okay, next up. Speak of the Devil, Neff Janizer, Fantasy Clouds from Reborn EP 2017-2026 fix. There's a lot of prefaces there. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's getting a little spicy on the ears in this section. There's a lot of wheel, wheel, wheel. It reminds me of is it Kung Fu or the Fist, something Fist. It's not Kung Fury. It's Kung Fu Fist. Kung Pao, maybe? Enter the Fist? Yeah, Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. Hold on. Wee. Oh, fuck. You disgust me. That's kind of what the Okay, so to me, this is a pretty interesting track. I like what it's doing. I think that the synths, what's up, Horu? Thanks. I think the synths are a little bit silly, and when the stars align and we get a couple wheels from two different synths at the same time, it adds up in a way that tickles my drums in a non-consensual way, and so that's kind of my biggest gripe with this so far. It's a very unique style of music, but the and that's fine. It's okay to have like an interesting, weird, non-typical style of music. But the kind of objective side of things is that when those frequencies from those lead synths add up together in that harsh range, that's kind of objectively challenging on the ears because of the way that our human ears interpret that frequency range. Let's keep going. I also kind of think that like the balance between the kick and the bass is a little strange. If we solo the bottom end, I feel like the drums are just kind of maybe buried. Maybe that's the issue. I feel like the synths are so loud and the drums are kind of buried, which is kind of the opposite of what you would expect, because I mean, you know, with side chaining and stuff, the drums, specifically the main drums like the kick and the snare and stuff, are usually cutting through and pushing the synth out of the way. Now, I'm not saying there isn't side chaining. Yeah, I mean, like I hear, this is what it sounds like. It sounds like the synths are in my face and the drums are back here. Like I almost have to listen through the synths to get to the drums. And I feel like that if the drums were cutting through the mix and punching their way through the bass sounds and interrupting all of the kind of craziness that the basses are doing, then I think that would make the track feel a bit more rhythmic and less just like, here is wacky bass synths in your face all the time. Yeah, I really think that you could get away with the wackiness if the drum balance felt a little bit better. I think that the silliness of all those synths and stuff, like the just like the wee wee wee, I think if the drums were like banging and cutting through the mix, then it kind of it would just take on a whole other vibe. I kind of feel like maybe the kick drum is cutting through enough, but the top drums aren't. Maybe the kick drum is okay, because the bassiness of it is kind of blending in with the rest of the basses, and then like the clap and the other kind of drums that are there are maybe those are more so the problem. What's up? We are listening to some interesting music, as always. All right, what's going on here? A tempo change? I mean, like, the track is interesting. I don't fully understand it. It's definitely experimental. It goes and does a bunch of things. But I think my one piece of advice would be to try to get those synths and the drums balanced better so that the drums carry more weight in the track, because right now it feels like it's all synths. And yeah. Can I skip the queue? I don't know what you mean by subbing. No, I just load the files into FL, and whatever order they go in is the order that they get played. I mean, if somebody is like, hey, I'm heading out in 10 minutes, then I'll bump them. But okay, that's what I think. It's an interesting track. And I like that you're going through your old tracks and, like, you know, rediscovering them. That's kind of cool. All right, this one is called Made This a Few Months Ago. Or, sorry, Made This a Few Months Back. That's, it's not exactly the most creative title, but we'll go with it. Let me just grab these songs before I forget. So, sorry, I'm stuck in my head, kicked it. Do I have that? Stuck. Trying to figure out where the hell I left off. Rayham, I think, is the last one. Okay, give me a sec to download some tracks. Actually, you know what? I'm going to play this song, and then I'll download the tracks while I'm listening. There's something about the piano sound and the square wave that I don't know. I mean, like, it's such a silly kind of almost chiptune, but not quite. I feel like the square wave is trying to push it in a chiptune direction, but then we have this kind of piano sound that's kind of saying, no chiptune for you. There are definitely some interesting note choices in amongst this section that I don't necessarily enjoy, but I also will defend to the death your right to play them. It's kind of silly. I don't know what it is about those synths, but it just has a silly vibe, and that's okay. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It kind of reminds me of early 2000s PC games and the soundtracks that came with them that would sound different depending on what sound card you had, because it wasn't like, the soundtracks weren't audio files, they were MIDI files, and they were using your sound card, like your sound blaster, as a synthesizer to play the soundtracks. That's what this kind of reminds me of. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to really have any good advice on this one, because I'm not really sure what kind of I don't really know how to steer this in a direction. I don't know what direction this is to be steered into, because it's straight. The more I listen to it, the more it straight up just sounds like almost like a, not a first person shooter from that era, but like maybe like some sort of puzzle game or something. Now those notes, I do have a fundamental issue with the fact that it just kind of jumps into the major key for a second and then back to the minor. I mean, music is subjective, and it's not wrong to do that. But to me, it throws me off every time I hear that major third being thrown in with the otherwise minor scale. Yeah. But then I'm like, well, okay, so what if you fix it? Well, then it loses kind of that weirdness. So that's why I don't think I really have any feedback for this, because I'm not going to be like, yo, your kick drum is weak. It's like, does this really need a pounding kick drum? I don't think so. Like, yo, your piano sounds like MIDI piano. Well, the rest of the track kind of sounds like MIDI sounds too. So I'm not really sure how to help you on this one, to be honest. It's a strange track. It's interesting and unique. I don't think it's bad music, but I don't know how to give you advice. I like how the wheel goes down in steps. It like do. It doesn't bend down gently. The bend is quantized into discrete steps. The character that this song would go meant to be the throw of the player because of the character's soundtrack in the game world. Yeah, so if this is like for a game, that's totally legit. And I don't know. Do I have the project? No, I don't. I mean, like, the project is like 5 kilobytes, but yeah, if this is like for a specific use case, like a video game that's supposed to inspire the nostalgic kind of early 2000s, late 90s PC gaming kind of vibe, then you fucking nailed it 100%. If this would come onto my Spotify, I would be like, what the fuck? What? So that's kind of the thing. I mean, like, this isn't the type of music that necessarily people would put in their Spotify category to work out, or their Spotify playlist to work out on. But it could work extremely well as a soundtrack behind some game that's trying to drum up a certain vibe, which is this. So anyway, that's what I think. I think it's an interesting song. It made me chuckle a couple times, and I enjoyed listening to it. Okay. Now we got PGX. I wonder if he's back. Oh, there he is. Okay. We're gonna listen to this one now.
When I keep falling, you know me better.
I mean, honestly, I think it's pretty good. The only thing I would maybe say is that the ending could just be, I would maybe embellish the ending a little bit. And maybe we're already planning on doing that. But the ending was just kind of like, oh, I guess the song is done, you know? And I think that there's some really good, like, where was it? That kind of sawtooth synth that's playing there with like kind of the dissonance that comes and goes, that could be cool to do in the outro with a stripped down drum part. Besides that, I think I don't even think I would change anything. I would just maybe make the ending not so like, oh fuck, it's done, you know? Doesn't mean you need to have a big full DJ outro or anything like that. I think just having like just like winding it down over a little bit longer period of time would probably be a better way to end the track. That's it. The rest sounds fucking dope. I don't think I'd change anything. That was easy. All right. This one is I Don't Even Know Xyloid. Okay, I really like this so far. I think that the top drums aren't necessarily right. Maybe mostly just the clap. Yeah, I feel like the track is so jazzy and housey, and I just think that the top drums overall aren't the best that they could be, but especially the clap, like it just doesn't really crunch with the rest of the track properly. It sounds very, it sounds like it was inspired a bit by, Royksop. I almost wonder if it's just the clap. Maybe the rest of the top drums is okay, are okay, but the clap, I don't know. I just don't think the clap is right. Yeah, you really should be doing most of your mixing with the speakers and headphones turned off. Just purely conceptual mixing, you know? Like you look at your drums and you're like, that should be 4.5 decibels louder than the bass. And you mix the whole song and then you listen at the end and you find out that you have not abided to a single musical key. Yeah, honestly, this type of track it's cool, it's smooth, it's relaxing, but the clap. I don't even know necessarily what clap to recommend, but I just think that this clap just sounds like a burst of noise almost, as opposed to like a crunch or something that fits in with the kick a bit better. I don't necessarily even love the rest of the top drums, but I think that that could come down to a subjective opinion type thing. But I think the clap is almost objectively not as good as it could be if you chose a different clap. So maybe just like experiment with different clap sounds and see if you're like, oh fuck, this sounds way better. You know, I kind of feel like you'll do that. I feel like if you just, unless maybe you've done that a whole bunch and this is the one that you thought sounded best, but I think if you just kind of go back and start subbing in some different alternative claps, you might be like, oh shit, this all of a sudden this is like way tastier, you know? And then besides that, I mean, like the mastering could, you know, you could go a bit harder on the mastering with 0 negative consequences. I think I got maybe 4 decibels out of it. I feel like there's maybe some dissonance in the bass at that right there. Yeah. Almost sounds like the bass is playing a power chord. But overall, I thought the track was smooth and relaxing, and I just wish that the clap was different. Okay, let's check out Horu in Your Eyes. Your track was the one we just listened to. I think I summed it up in the fact that I thought it was good. It could be mastered louder, and I think the clap could be better. Try subbing in some different claps. I am accepting one more track. You got to go click sorry, don't click the link. You got to type it in like a fucking dinosaur because I don't know how to add links. Okay, so far I think that this sounds good. I think that the track itself is better than the vocals that are on it. Like the vocals are fine. They're like, you know, the funk style vocals. But I almost wish that I got to listen to the track without the vocals at some part. Because I really like the... Like... I don't know if maybe you drop with the vocals and then you do like the second half of the drop without the vocals or something. Don't listen to Rayhem. He's just fucking with you. There's no commands that work on this because I'm not a professional Twitcher. Yeah, I just feel like, and maybe we'll get that at some point, but I kind of feel like we're not going to. I would just like to hear it maybe not even without the vocals in the drop, but maybe just like the last line of the vocal, you know, and then we can focus on the really nice like melody that's happening on the synth part. I also kind of think that maybe the discrepancy in the volume between the breakdown sections and the drops, I think it might be a little bit more than it needs to be. Like I understand that like the breakdown sections they're not going to be as loud as the drops, but I kind of feel like it's quite a drastic change. Whoever just sent a SoundCloud link, you have to send a download that I can just download from the Discord, so I don't have to click on links and stuff. Okay, so we do get a section with the vocals. To me, like, I get it. I get the vocals. I understand that that is the style of music. But to me, the vocals are the weakest part of this. They're just kind of like, they almost feel like they're there because they have to be for the style of music. I really like the beat. I really like the melody. It's kind of channeling a little bit of Donkey Kong under the water, like underwater. But the vocal to me is just kind of like, it almost sounds like a drum loop in the background or something. So I just, I don't love the vocals. I understand that the style of music, maybe it dictates that they need to be there or something like that. But I don't know. To me, they're not subtracting necessarily, but they're not really adding what you would expect a vocal to add to it. Now that could also just be my personal taste in music. I don't really listen to funk with the da ba da da ba da da ba da ba da ba da da ba da ba da ba. Like, to me, I'm like, all right, cool. Yep, that's the type of vocal that goes on that track. But I'm not like really connecting with the vocal in any way. Like, I couldn't tell you I understood all the words that they were saying. The mix is fine in the fact that I can hear what they're saying, but I couldn't repeat a single line back to you, even a single word, because I'm just so disconnected from that style of vocal. But again, you got to take into consideration that I'm not really into that style of music. I like the music part of it, but I feel like I'm beating off a dead horse. I don't think that that's necessarily a piece of advice to go and take those vocals out of there, but I feel like you might want to experiment with a different style of vocal on this style of track, because maybe you find something that is more of your sound instead of your interpretation of this sound, if that makes sense. Because maybe you have the funk style track with all of the funk style stuff that goes with it, but all of a sudden you have like a more melodic singing or something on top of it, and all of a sudden you found this kind of new angle on that genre of music, and that's something that you can claim as your own, as opposed to just kind of like this sounds like you. I can tell it's your track, it sounds like you, but it's not really breaking any molds in terms of like what you're doing with the genre. You're just kind of like doing the same thing that always happens in the genre with ba 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 ba. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? Anyway, take it with a grain of salt. It's not my favorite type of music, but I think the actual music in this is very good, and I think the vocals are just kind of whatever. Cool. All right, that's what I think. Next one is Heartbeat. Here we go. Oh.
Hear that heartbeat coming through, yeah.
Well, I don't know, Rayham, because we kind of have the heartbeat monitor sound, kind of the like the beeping sound. Maybe that's the reference.
Coming through, heartbeat coming through, heartbeat coming through. Hear that heartbeat coming through, yeah. Hear that heartbeat. Hear that heartbeat coming through, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do agree. I agree with Raham on that the track is sick. I mean, the track is sick. The vocal is sick. Maybe there is a bit of a disconnect where you're kind of like the vocal maybe doesn't tie in with the song, because you do expect kind of like a more clear and concise like heartbeat sound. So I don't necessarily know if you could maybe, like right here,
Hear that heartbeat coming through, yeah.
like instead of this like drum fill, maybe this is like some cool sound that sounds like a thump, like some sort of heartbeat sound. And then maybe you could do the exact same thing with the drop, but at the end of every 4 bars or every 8 bars, it does the heartbeat sound. Like there's like a very, it could even be straight up a heartbeat monitor that just goes in that section, and then you're referencing it. And then that kind of ties the idea of the song better. Because I do kind of, when I said that, like the heartbeat monitor, that I was kind of like I was trying to rationalize the title and the vocal in my head. But I had to try to do that. It wasn't obvious. So I think that maybe the drum fill is cool, and the wicka wicka wah thing, like it's cool, but it doesn't really, like, you have a prime piece of real estate right here to do something heartbeat related. And then, like I said, you could also take every X amount of bars, and maybe there's a little section where you do it again, every so often, just to tie the idea of the track back together. Because I think that the track is, I'm not necessarily upset with anything in the production. I just think that, yeah, if you're going to have a song called Heartbeat, it probably should have something that's a little more explicitly referencing a heartbeat, as opposed to just kind of vaguely hinting at it.
Heartbeat coming through. Heartbeat coming through.
Because like the beeping does reference it, but the beeping it's not really beeping in the way that a heart rate monitor would beep. Because a heart rate monitor doesn't drift up and down in pitch. It doesn't.
Heartbeat coming through. Heartbeat coming through. Heartbeat coming through.
So all that is fine, but then if you had that little section right before the drop and periodically throughout the drop, that was more kind of an explicit heartbeat reference, I think that would be better. The track is sick though. I don't really have any notes on the production. Maybe this drop, you could make it could be twice as long, and it could be kind of like an outro almost. Like you could simplify it down a little bit more, because I kind of don't want the drop to end that soon. So you could just like start stripping it down and turn that into a bit of an outro. More than feeble little heart monitor sound, actual heartbeat kick sound. Yeah, that's a good idea. And again, I think that you've got prime real estate here, that you're right now, the choice that you've made is to put a drum fill with a little bit of a wicka wicka wah DJ thing. And it's cool, but you're kind of squandering like this opportunity to put something that's really heartbeat related right there. So I don't know, give it a shot. Okay, that was easy. Let's check out Ever Birdie BB Rexa I'm Good remix. All right. I swear to God, all of these titles, it's like I have to learn how to read English again, and that's not a reflection on you, it's a reflection on me. Here we go. Okay, right off the bat, I see quite MP3. I'm sure it's probably just a 192, but let's make sure. Where is it? What's it called? Everbirdie. And I heard one other thing that I'm going to mention in a second once I find this frigging file. Where? Oh, there it is. Well, it's only 3. Wow, 128. God, you're being very economical with your hard drive space and mine. Okay, anyway. That note right there on the bass, it's too low. It's kind of just rumbling my speaker, so I think you got to go up an octave on that one. Well, thank you for the suggestion. I don't really have anything that I'm afraid of showing on stream, so I don't really care, but I do appreciate that.
'Cause I'm good, I'm feeling alright, baby, I'ma have the best fucking night of my life, and wherever it takes me, I'm down for the ride, baby, don't you know I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright.
Okay, so at this point, I kind of feel like you've built us up for quite a while, and then it felt like we were going to go somewhere, and then we ended up just going into another build-up, and I feel like I'm not necessarily sure how better to do that with this specific song, because I like this right here. I like what it's doing in the build-up. But I also kind of feel like I'm like ready for the drop now. I feel like we've been building up for quite some time. So let's try. I'm going to slice that. Let's just see what happens if we just get rid of this section altogether. Maybe it needs it. Yeah, I think it's almost objectively better to get. You could use that section somewhere else. So I got the timing wrong. Let's. I kind of feel like the voicing on the chords could be better. They feel a bit almost just like too triad-y or something. Like there's very little complexity. And I'm not saying that this should be crammed full of, seventh and ninth and augmented, suspended third, fourth, and fifth chords or anything, but I kind of feel like there's certain chords that almost sound like they kind of just feel like they're a root note and a perfect fifth and an octave. Like I almost feel like they're not playing a major or a minor, but I could be wrong. There's just something about the voicing of the chords that's a little uninspiring or something. I do like the drop though. I think the drop is the best section. Yeah, there's just something that the chords are like almost there, but sometimes it's just a matter of flipping an octave of like a note that's in the chord structure. Like maybe you have the major or minor third and it's an octave up, and if you drop it down an octave, all of a sudden the chord sounds more rich or something, or the other way around. Maybe the major or minor third or something is an octave down and it's causing it to be muddy, and if you put it up an octave, the way that it plays off of the other notes is more pleasing to listen to. So I don't know. I would maybe just try playing with the voicing a little bit, move some notes around, add in if it's a triad, if it's a just a root and a major minor third and a perfect fifth, and then maybe an octave on top of that or whatever. Maybe try adding something else in that creates a bit of tension that resolves into the next chord or something. I kind of feel like it's maybe the last chord in the sequence that's I almost think it, I don't know. There's nothing like objectively wrong with the chords. They are playing a proper chord progression. There's just something about the voicing and the way that the coloring that's being added to the chords, or lack of coloring that's being added to the chords, that I feel could be better. There could be more tension and release if there were a note that maybe was a semitone here, and then the next chord it went down a semitone, so there's some like tension, and depending on the chord structure, I mean, I don't know what the chords are specifically, but I just think that you could do better on the voicing. I would maybe this section here. I would treat this, that part I think is the bridge of the original song, and I would treat it as a bridge in this song too. Maybe take out the bright chords and have it more bass centric, stripped back a bit, let her do her thing, and then hit us with the full chorus again. To me, it doesn't really make sense to treat the music the same over the bridge section as you did in the choruses. But yeah, I mean, like overall, I think that I would probably at least try this, get rid of this build-up section and just get right to the drop a little bit sooner, see if you like it. Play with the voicing on the chords, and then maybe strip back the bridge section to a bit more simplified beat, maybe more bass-centric, have the vocals deliver that bridge in a more bridge kind of way, and then hit us with the chorus again. All right. Oh, another I Don't Even Know by EDM. I mean, it's cool. It definitely is setting a scene. I think it would be great as a element, behind a visual. I don't really have much feedback. I think it's probably quite quiet. You could probably amp up the volume just in the master without having any real downside. Like you could push this up so that these kind of things were happening more kind of up here instead. It's not the type of piece of music that needs to be fucking 0 dB or anything. It doesn't have to be super loud, but especially at the start, it's just this is very quiet. And maybe that makes sense with the visual. I have no idea. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool, like, I'm a little worried. I think when I listen to it, I feel a sense of anxiety and dread, and potentially like some sort of technology is going to harm me in my life somehow. And if that's what you're going for, you nailed it. Okay, let's move on. Cloudy Underworld Remix version 2. I am also going to listen to this while I urinate because I have to pee something fierce. That was very aggressive. So I think what I would say so far is that the breakdown section could be pulled back slightly in terms of volume. I feel like we're right up against the limiter, even in this section. I don't think it needs to be. I do really like this. I'm wondering if there's a bit too much like white noise wall of sound happening during the drop section. Like the top end is just constantly filled with and if that was maybe I don't want, not necessarily modulated, but like if it wasn't just kind of being broken up by the side chain, I think that some of the wub sounds and stuff would come through better, because if a wub is trying to go whoop whoop, but you have over top of it, then all of a sudden wub wub, it you know, you don't get the wub as much because it's being kind of blurred over by so maybe that I would probably try to like maybe modulate. I don't know what's contributing to that top frequency. Let's see. Might be cymbals. I can't even really tell. So maybe like try to keep in mind that if you have constant white noise sort of thing going on, then it takes away from the rhythm of the wubs. The wub 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 is now like it's just, yeah, it's kind of like covering up the rhythm a bit. I feel like this is kind of this is kind of the working area of the song. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's cool. I think it's a good remix. I would yeah, I'd probably try to chill out on the breakdown sections. Don't make them quite as, they don't need to be rail to rail. They don't need to be 0 dB for the breakdown sections. You don't have to make them super quiet, but if they just were a little more chilled out, so that I didn't kind of feel like I was constantly sitting right on the limiter, that would probably be good. And then maybe try to work on like the high frequency sound and incorporating somehow either attenuating it during certain sections, getting rid of it in certain sections, or making it, you know, like if there's like a filter on the or not the sub, but like the wub bass, it's like wub wub. Maybe the white noise or the top frequency is kind of going whoosh, whoosh, as well, to kind of emphasize the actual movement and articulation of the synth. Besides that, it goes pretty hard. Okay, can't make this up. I can't seem to use my mouse either. Okay, here we go.
Spend some time away, was you committed to the pain? Can you hear me? Heard so far away. Another week, another day. I've been on the run, searching for a sign, trying to find a way to feel alive today. You don't get me high anymore. Ever since you walked through the door, used to feel the fire in my core. Now I don't have anything worth living for.
It sounds like the synth says Pizza Boy. This sounds like that sound that Veritasium used to use in all of his videos. Yeah, I have no idea how to count when it comes to that. It's not halftime. It's like 2/3 time or something, or 1/3 time. Yeah, this is really cool. I like this track a lot. I think that, yeah, if you're going to replace the vocals, it's quarter time. Okay, I was getting there. Yeah, if you're going to replace the vocals, I don't really have any other notes. It's pretty good. At no point did I get bored. At no point did I get sick of anything. It's a good track. Get some original vocals on there and profit. Okay. Sorry, I'm back. This again. All right, that's almost certainly a typo. Can you drag my song down a couple of spaces, please? I gotta go AFK. Okay, which one is your vocal? I don't know which one yours is. So you're gonna have to tell me. Is it this one or is it the next one? Burial. Okay. Blip. Oh, wrong button. There we go. All right, I threw it down a few. Okay, let's listen to this one.
Opern Gangnam Style. Opern Gangnam Style. Opern Gangnam Style.
Okay. Is it a good idea to make a song with less than 500 beats per minute? Yeah, I think it's almost always a good idea to make a song less than 500 beats per minute. But that's just my opinion, man. I'm sure you meant more than 500 beats per minute. And if you can make a song that's more than 500 beats per minute, then I would listen to it. I don't know if I would like it. I don't know that I've ever heard a song that's greater than 500 beats per minute, but I purely out of curiosity would certainly listen to it. Okay, so this one, I like the style, but I find the sounds are kind of a little, I don't want to say weak. I want to say almost rounded off or something. There's a lot of bass. And then that the harmonic thing that's doing the little wiggly, it's so far underneath the sub range that it kind of sounds a bit like too gentle. I think gentle is the word I'm looking for. I've made a song at 600 beats per minute quarter time. You're gonna make me do the math on that. Anyway, yeah, if you listen to listen to how loud the sub is, and then listen to how loud that harmonic thing that's. It's almost like a background element. So I think that the sub bass is plenty loud, but the maybe not the kick. Let me just listen. I think it's mostly the harmonics of the harmonics on the bass that are really adding the character. They're like buried. They're underneath the track, and that gives it kind of a weak, kind of gentle vibe. Wow. Love that. Wait, am I back? I think I might be back. I see the thing changing colors. That's typically not a good a good thing. Back and better than ever. That's not the case. Fuck. Okay, I think I'm I think I'm back, but I have very little faith that I will remain in this sort of way. But we will assume we will assume that whatever is going on with my internet has subsided. Yeah. Okay. At the bottom of OBS, there's like this, oh, you probably can't see it there. This green. And when I see it turn yellow, I get like fucking PTSD. But anyway, okay. I think we're back. I think whatever that was temporary. So let's continue.
Start.
Yes, I'm very much from Canada. So you're gonna get freezing rain in half an hour. I'm pretty sure Moncton has been getting freezing rain for the past few days, so I don't think this is anything new.
Start.
Yeah, so okay, back to this. So I find that it's very sub bass heavy. Like it's very there's a lot of sub bass, and the character of the bass isn't in the sub. You know, the character of the bass is in the mid range and the top end and stuff like that.
Start.
Now you can hear that I was able to bring a bit more of that out just by adding a shit ton of this like mid range in.
Start.
So yeah, I'd probably lean a bit more on the non-sub components of your sounds so that, I mean, the sub is definitely loud enough. It's the other stuff that just kind of feels a little backgroundy.
Open Gangnam Style. Open Gangnam Style. Open Gangnam Style.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this track, it just needs to have the character parts of the basses pushed up in the mix a lot. And then it's just, it is what it is. I don't necessarily think that the vocal chops need to be changed or anything like that. I think it's really just a matter of making sure the parts of the bass that we kind of like hear as opposed to feel are loud in the mix.
Start. Open Gangnam Style.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, there's many ways of doing it. I don't know if that kind of the wobbly, almost UK bass sound, I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know if that and the sub are the same thing, or if you have a sub bass and that bass, and maybe you could just turn that bass up, or maybe you take that frequency range in, if it's all one bass, and boost it up and maybe distort it a little bit so that we get more harmonics off of the wibbly wobbly thing. Sub separate. Okay. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of mixing the volume of those things. So you have like your wubs and your wiggles, and then you have your sub, and the sub is very loud and the wubs and wiggles are not. So that's my suggestion. Okay. Evolute lasers. Okay, so I find that like you've got this dense kind of super saw chord being played, and then you've got this this lead sound that really exists in the very similar frequency range and profile as that. I feel like it's going to be hard to get that lead to cut through, especially because if you turn it up more, that frequency kind of range is going to start hurting a bit. It's kind of like shrill and a bit harsh. So what you might want to try doing is low passing those chords and maybe having some atmosphere or something to fill out the higher frequencies a little bit in this section. But I think that lead synth would come through a lot better if the super saw chords weren't so bright.
laser.
Okay, this one's actually almost suffering from the same thing as the last one. We have, I mean, the snare is like the loudest part, but if you listen to just the synths, you'll hear the sub is quite up front in the mix, but the wub part of it, the character part is not.
Laser.
Hundreds of lightning bolts are lighting up the sky. Stress was building up.
Yeah, if you listen specifically to to how loud the wubs sound and how loud the snare sounds, there's quite a big discrepancy between, like when the snare hits, it's like, whoa. Every time it hits, it's like, wow, that's loud, you know?
A whole host of new species arrived on the scene.
I mean, I think part of what's maybe making it feel empty is that we're kind of used to this style of music being like,
They were thinking about lasers.
yeah, I think that like, I think that like pushing the master harder is probably maybe what it needs. I mean, maybe I think the snare could come down in volume. If the snare came down in volume and then you mastered it harder.
They were thinking of
And you paid attention to what elements really pushed the gain reduction down. Sorry, I just interrupted myself. If you push this down and then you start looking at what specific elements are causing the master limiter to dip down more than others, you can kind of massage the mix a little bit so that you can push this quite far down, get everything I mean, this style of music needs to be fucking loud, right? Like that, the drop anyway, that's kind of part of the sound. So even just me doing this, I think, has made a big improvement. Even though it's kind of dirty, like the amount of gain reduction we're getting. I guess I could try to just do like a real quick, like multiband and then limiter kind of master thing.
A whole host of new species arrived on the scene.
They were thinking about lasers.
What do you mean? Two quadrants are the way from a fucking rectangle last time. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's always it's a struggle. Always to find that perfect balance of like fuck you loudness and like this is way too loud. But I do think that, yeah, I mean, for this style of music, this just seems like this is like it seems like a pre-master.
Hundreds of lightning bolts are lighting up.
The verse and off drops, such six sound choices. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with Rayhem that I think calling it cookie cutter is maybe a little overly harsh. I mean, it is the style of music. Like it's, you know, rap, like that's kind of like the sound. But I do kind of similar to my note on Horu's track where it's the funk track and it's doing all the funk track stuff. Like, is there some other inspiration that you have that gives you a unique perspective or a unique angle on this style of music? You know, like maybe for example, Aiden Dodge plays flute. He's like a flute player. So sometimes he takes the flute out and plays it on his tracks, and that's like an interesting, like, you don't usually hear a flute on R&B tracks, right? So that's his unique perspective, that he comes from a flute player's perspective, making this style of music, and he puts those two things together, and that is a unique flavor of R&B or whatever the style, whatever you want to call it, right? So just trying to learn the style is never going to be... Yeah, I mean, like, well, if you're new to producing, I would say you're doing a very good job. And as you go, then as you move forward in your production, you will feel more comfortable with kind of the bread and butter. Like, how do I get the drop to be loud? What snare drum should I use? Like, these are kind of not necessarily, they're all creative choices, but they're not the most creative choices. Like, because there's a certain range of types of snares that work in this style of music, right? And that's kind of a rule of thumb, and for sure it can be broken, but the creative stuff, once you are more comfortable with, like, okay, I can make a fucking dubstep drop pretty easy. Like, I know the drums to use, I know the techniques to use. Then all of a sudden you can start experimenting with more unique stuff that you like experimenting. You're like, oh fuck, if I send this sine wave in with this noise into distortion. I'm not really explaining a very unique idea, but you experiment and you find something and you're like, that's fucking sick. That sounds sick. And then you start incorporating that into all the bread and butter stuff that you've learned. Then that's typically how it goes. You start off emulating the stuff that you like, learning how to create stuff like the artists that you like. And then once you get to a place where you're like, okay, I can kind of make a dubstep drum beat in, like, with my eyes closed in 5 seconds, then you can start being like, all right, let me throw in a little bit of weird shit. Let's try some stuff. You know, what happens if I play a bass guitar and put it up 2 octaves and distort it and then time stretch it by 100% and then put it down an octave and then shrink it back to the original tempo that it was before? What's that sound like, you know? And that's where that comes in. But I would say for this track, I think that yeah, overall, I think he probably could turn the snare down a bit and then like master it harder. And then it probably would, I think maybe split the difference. I don't really necessarily remember it being a rectangle when you sent it last. I do recognize the song, like I've heard it before, but I don't remember it being a brick. But I think somewhere between, maybe if I was, if my opinion back then, and it's just my opinion, but if my opinion was that it was too bricked up, then maybe you just got to brick it down a little bit, but not this much. Anyway, that's what I think. Okay. Stuck in my head, kick edit. Wow. I feel like you could replace like your morning crack cocaine with this. I really don't. I don't know what to say. I understand. I enjoyed it in a weird way. I don't know that I have any usable feedback on this style of music. It does everything wrong on purpose, and I get that. I think it's a little too distorted. Like, well, like I don't know what to say about this style. I never do. It was fun. I'm okay not listening to it again, but I do appreciate the creativity that went into it. So there were moments where I was like, okay, but then there were also moments where I'm like, not okay with my ears at this volume level. But anyway, you knew how I would feel about this. I don't think it's bad music. I think it's just not a type of music that I can fully comprehend or provide feedback on. Okay, cool. All right, now we're back to the first burial type beat type shit. Okay, I'm gonna stop here for a sec. I like this. It reminds me kind of a Massive Attack. It's a bit Massive Attacky. I think what I'm missing is maybe some instrument or like I feel like there's so much room for. It doesn't need to be crammed full of like a guitar riff or like a strumming acoustic guitar or anything. But I feel like there's so much room, and I understand that like keeping some room. Keeping the negative space, it's important. I'm not trying to needlessly complicate, or what's another word? Clutter up what's there. But I feel like there's like, I almost hear like like a little like guitar thing or something, hurdy-gurdy. I like what's there so far, but I kind of feel like it kind of needs that main character that I'm not, and maybe that comes in. Let's keep listening. Yeah, I think that everything that's here, the way it's progressing, it all is working quite well, but it's just missing like that thing, the thing that and it could be repetitive. It can be repetitive. It kind of feels like it's like slowly evolving, and this type of song, I think it's okay for it to slowly evolve, loop and repeat and get more and more complicated and then end. Like that, to me, this style of music is fine doing that. I think that the vocal that's in there is fine. It's not really a main thing, but I'm missing like a melodic element or something, you know? I wish that I didn't have so much fucking latency on. God. Sorry, this is gonna be weird because the guitar is going to go straight. The guitar is going to go straight into OBS, but I just want to play like a single doodle doo. Also, my guitar jack is a bit fucked up, so it's probably gonna crackle and shit. Sorry. And I haven't even touched this in probably 6 months, so it's way out of tune. Okay, so. Dun, dun. I kind of. Just that. Like, I'm just wondering if that's fine. It's probably not in tune. That's fine. Number 2. Edison. Oh, there we go. You can hear the lights off of my keyboard. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to record. Whatever, we'll try those. All right. Again, this is just to give you some ideas potentially. All right. So let's take this. And then like send it to a guitar rig, I guess. I was still too close to my the switching, like the PWM for the LEDs on my keyboard react with my guitar if I don't use the humbucker, unfortunately. I usually I just like stand further away, but whatever. Guitar rig. Basic Chicago, sure. Let's see what this is. Yeah, that's obviously way too hot. I don't even think I recorded it to the tempo either. I just went boodle doo. Let's try one of these. What is the tempo? I mean, I can figure it out, but... Did you try the medicine drug? I don't know what that means. 1:30, okay. Yes, the submissions are closed for today. Okay, 1:30. Just chop this up, try it. I'm struggling to find where the one is. So like my idea for the guitar wasn't to have it just dry like that. It would be more like reverb and delayed or something. I don't know. I'm just fucking around, but I definitely enjoyed it. Yes, King Cobra. It was exactly what I would have expected from you. And it was hard on my ears, but I like a good challenge, so I do appreciate it. That sample into Discord. Sure. I'm not saying, like, again, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm happy to send it over. Let's try. Is it a weird timing signature? Like, I'm struggling to find where the pattern repeats. Maybe this is the downbeat here? No, it's just 4/4. Okay. Okay. So I guess I'm just having a hard time finding where the start of the progression is. Like maybe right here. Anyway, yeah, I can. Here, let me send it right now before I forget. I think I sent over the. Yeah, okay. I just sent over the dry guitar part. So feel free to, put it through processing and shit. Anyway, it's not even necessarily that it could be something not a guitar. I'm just like, I'm missing kind of like a thing that could, and it could even be kind of rotationally looping where it doesn't loop at the same point as everything else. Because I kind of feel like that's the style of this track where it's kind of like you get lost in it and the poly, I guess it's kind of a polyrhythmic looping thing where like, you think you know where the loop starts and stops, but it doesn't, but it kind of like, you're like, oh fuck, that's not the downbeat. I'm kind of already getting that vibe already, even though it's probably just a matter of me not sitting down and like trying to learn the song better. Anyway, I think the track is cool. I think it's very Massive Attack, and feel free to chop that guitar part up and whatever, if you find it useful. Okay. Laser Love. So this is the Fred one. Let's have a listen. Oh my God. Go to the start. Oh, also there's quite a bit of headroom on that file. I don't really think that I don't think it needs that much I don't think it needs really any headroom. Maybe like 0.1 decibels or something, but like your track, I think, is this with it? Yeah, that's with it normalized. Like, so I don't know if you just like, you weren't, I don't know, maybe you keep this sort of, you keep this headroom until you're ready to put the track out or something, but it's just kind of wasted space. Like, it's not really doing anything. So, okay, let's keep going. How do you use the headroom? Sorry, Fred, I keep starting and stopping your track. I've tried to maximize it. Yeah, I mean, like for me, like if you had this going in your master, like all you have to do is, oh fuck, I gotta solo it. Hold on. Yeah. Like we just got 2.5 decibels out of it. And the thing is, you upload that to Spotify, it doesn't really matter because they're just going to, they normalize, I believe, based on like RMS value. So all the songs are kind of the same value anyway. So you're not really accomplishing anything by having just this like dead spot above it. But yeah, explain to the gamers what the plugin's doing. Okay, just limiter on and nothing else. So I think does your limiter have a ceiling? Because if you have a ceiling that's like, you know, 2.5 decibels, then that would make sense, because now you're basically you're still limiting and affecting the dynamics, but now you're telling the limiter space everything down by 2.5 decibels, which is kind of what it seems like. Because I brought the threshold down 2.5 and it just barely tickled the limiter. So to me, I think you might have like a ceiling setting or the gain on the output. I don't know the limiter that you're talking about. Threshold. Well, the threshold is going to be where the limiter starts to limit the signal, right? But then you can imagine if I absolutely destroy the dynamics and make it a brick, I could still turn the output volume up and down and achieve this same thing. You know, it could be a complete brick, and if the output gain on your limiter is down 2.5 decibels, then you're going to have that somewhat pointless 2.5 decibels of headroom, because it's not like you're using that for dynamics. You can clearly see you've limited things, right? So you're not using the headroom. It's just kind of empty space up there. And a lot of the time people will say just use a 0.1 decibel ceiling, because sometimes, at least the way the theory that I understood back in the day was that if you send out a piece of audio that goes right to 0 dB, potentially different streaming services, different encoders for MP3s, they might treat that 0 dB as a clip, and you might have it might get a little funky. So if you just add a tiny bit of like 0.1 decibels of space on the top and bottom, it's minus 1.86, causing it to. What is minus 1.86? Is there a ceiling? What's the limiter? K. What'd you say it was? K something? KHS limiter. Because if I can see KHS limiter. Oh, kilohertz. Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. So is it this? What the fuck? Yes, take my cookies. I don't care. Is it? No, okay, it's not that. Oh, that's a toolbox, sorry. Reason Studios. I'm confused then. Kilohertz limiter. Isn't that what I just... Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so it would be your out gain. Is your out gain turned down at all? Because that would be the same as the ceiling. Because basically what you're doing is not necessarily actually. That could be, yeah, because I'm assuming, okay, so the thing with the limiter that I'm using is when I bring this down, there's two things happening, and one of the things that isn't happening isn't being shown. It's bringing the limit threshold down, but it's also at the same time turning the output gain up by the same amount. Because obviously, if I just brought the threshold down and I didn't have automatic gain compensation, it would just get quieter, and I'd have a minus 6 dB dead spot. But this limiter brings it back up. So what you might have to do is if you say you brought your threshold down to minus 3 or minus 8 or whatever, you might have to turn the output gain back up by that amount to make use of that new headroom that you've created. I don't know if that makes sense, but I imagine. I've never used this. Did you say it was free? Hold on a sec. Let me grab it. Free. Okay. I'm clicking free. Oh, I have to sign up. Okay. Hold on. Take my information. Do I already have a... Oh, I do. Okay, I already have an account. This is excellent. Log in. Okay. And now that I'm logged in, can I download? Free. Free with account. Why am I being such an old man? Log in. I am logged in. Bear with me. Update information. Maybe that's what I don't... Oh, okay. There we go. Download. Kilohertz installer. I have to install an installer. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Just let me install the thing I want, not the thing that I need to install the thing that I want. You know? But anyway, I've come this far, so I'm going to complete the journey and install the installer. Fuck's sakes. Oh, check Discord general. Oh, did you send like a in-gain? Okay, so yeah, that's fine, but I want to install it so that I can use it, so I can show you what I'm talking about. Phase plant. Okay, install. I think I got kilohertz for the phase plant synth years ago. So after I install it, am I just going limiter, volume threshold, installing comb filter? Hooray. Sure. Give me all of the malware. Yeah, like I don't think I'll probably ever use this. Not because it's bad or good or whatever, but just because I already have, like, I just use Ozone for mastering stuff. I just want to load it up so I can see what you're dealing with, so I can give you a better answer. More plugins. Let's see if it shows up yet. Loading plugin list. Okay, this should be good. You have to download the essentials. You should definitely try dual delay plugin. Interesting. Okay. So it's just, let's just see if it's already in the list. Oh, look at that. It is. Okay. Cool. All right. We're going to send this to a track. We're going to put the limiter. It just says limiter, L limiter. Here we go. Aha. Okay, so okay, so my understanding from this is we're seeing the gain reduction coming down. So that blue thing that's bouncing is showing us how much gain reduction we're getting in response to the signal, right? But if we look at, how could we visualize this better? Let's maybe wave candy. Wave candy. Where the fuck? Okay, there we go. I'm rusty. Okay, so we'll pull up wave candy. No, that's gonna make it more confusing. Oh, we could do it this way. Sure. Okay, so meter. So see how I've brought the threshold down to -7. Let's pull it down to -8. So the threshold is now -8. Anything that goes above -8, it's going to reduce the volume so that it doesn't go above -8. It's limiting it to -8. But watch what happens when I play it. Now we're no longer going to 0 dB. But if I go in here, because I've brought the threshold down, if I bring this up plus 0.8 and play it. So you see, I've limited it to -8, but then I've added that -8 back into it. So I think what you've probably done, you've limited it, so you're getting gain reduction, but you haven't compensated for the gain reduction. No, it wasn't peaking. I mean, I'm just playing your track through it, right? So it's going to be a little different when you play your track instead of your master through it, right? But I could do any arbitrary number. I could limit it to whatever. If I go back to here, say I limit it to -10. So now anything that goes above -10, yeah, I looked at your screenshot, but that doesn't really tell me a whole lot because I don't know how hot the signal is going into it, right? Like I can't see it working. When I play this through it, it shows me how much gain reduction is happening. But now see how the peak is -2? That's because this is -10 and I've only added 8 back into it, right? So if I added 10 back into it because I reduced it by 10, now I'm back there. And now the other thing that you can do when we're talking about like keeping when you keep a bit of headroom, like a little bit, well, can you type in here or do you have to? Oh yeah, you can. Okay. So if you right click, you can type. So if I do -10 and then on the output gain, I do 9.9. Now the peak is going to be 0.1 dB below the top, 0. Minimum threat. Would lowering the release help as well? The release is going to change how it sounds. It's not necessarily going to change the headroom or the peak. It's just going to change how, like, the quicker the release you go, the louder it is because the gain gets turned back up faster after an event that causes, because you think about a kick drum comes through and it wants to go above your threshold, and the threshold says, no, you can't go above the threshold. So using the attack, which you can't control, it's a set attack, the attack turns the volume down. And then the release is how quick do I turn it back up after that signal has come back down past the threshold. So the release is about how it sounds. The trade-off is the quicker the release is, it becomes more like distortion or clipping and less like a limiter or a compressor. If you go really long, then you get some really strange pumping things. Because this blue bar that's bouncing, and I'm just assuming that you don't know anything. I'm sure you do know things, but I'm just assuming that you don't, so that I can explain it from the ground up. But the blue line that's coming down, that's telling you how much that compressor is turning the volume down every time a kick drum hits, for example, or something hits. Whenever something goes above that threshold, the compressor says, nah, I'm going to turn it down. And then you can see I turn the release way up and watch how slow it gets turned back up to the volume. So what most like mastering plugins will do is these two knobs are usually tied together, right? So if this is at 0 and this is at 0, okay. So the plugin I use, Ozone, when I bring this threshold down, if I bring it down by 6, this automatically gets turned up by 6. That's typically how those things work. And this is just giving you, like, you have to do that manually. So anyway, that was a super long way of saying that this is, you've brought the threshold down, but you didn't turn the gain up enough to make use of this extra, what I would say is like 2 dB of headroom or something like that. I feel like a metric ton. I would say that most like mastering plugins that have a limiter in it, they would almost always have, it's called automatic gain compensation or control, AGC, usually. So when you're bringing the threshold down, instead of just reducing the signal down, it's bringing the gain back up to, or makeup gain. I guess it's usually called makeup gain. You're making up for the volume that you've reduced. Yeah. I mean, these are all just kind of interchangeable. Automatic gain control is actually a radio frequency thing for like radio stations. Okay, Fred, that's good. That's good timing because I just got done looking at a limiter. So we can listen to your track now. But yeah, makeup gain is usually what it's called on a compressor. And a lot of them will do it automatically, or they'll have a button that you can turn on and off so that if you don't want it to be done automatically, you can just turn it off. But most of the time, people just leave it on. And then that threshold, or sorry, not the threshold. If I pull up Ozone again, if you can imagine that when I'm bringing this threshold down, there's an invisible gain after the master, or after the limiter, that's getting turned up by that same amount. And then when I change the ceiling, that's just, if I put the ceiling to 1 dB and I put this to 8 dB, then it's going to turn up the post gain. I can't get it at 8, whatever. It's going to turn up the post gain by 7 instead of 8, because that's the difference that I told it. I'm like, don't push it right to 0. Give me 1 decibel of headroom. And this is the release character. Typically with very aggressive music, you can get away with a very fast release because the track is already fucking distorted anyway. So, oh no, we get a little more distortion from the release time being really fast. And then if you have like a smooth kind of jazz track like this, you might want to not go so aggressive because you're going to hear that distortion caused by the fast release time. Because if you think about a clipper, like a wave shaper or a wave clipper, whatever clipping kind of thing, this is a limiter with 0 millisecond attack and 0 millisecond release. As soon as the waveform goes above this threshold, this is now the threshold. As soon as the waveform goes above that, it instantaneously is reduced to whatever it needs to be to not go above that threshold. And as soon as it drops back down, the gain is returned to the way it was. When you use a compressor or a limiter, you're really using a wave shaper or a clipper, but with time constants on how fast you can turn the gain down and how fast you can turn the gain back up. So using a limiter and using a wave shaper like this, the only difference is how fast the gain gets turned up and down as a result of crossing the threshold. Okay, anyway, let's listen to Fred's track. Is that a Nexus piano? Yeah, I mean, like the chord progression is doing so much heavy lifting. Like that is yeah, I always find that Moy's like chord progressions are so interesting. They're almost to the point where they're almost like a melody. You know, like that is such a unexpected change of chords, and it makes so much sense, but it's so unexpected each time. It's interesting. I think that I'm a little on the fence in terms of like the way the production in certain areas of the track is kind of aggressive for like the sound of the song, if you know what I mean. Like especially I kind of felt it as we were getting close to this first drop, and then even when we dropped, the kick drum is so fucking banging, and I'm almost like, is this going hard or is this more melodic? I'm kind of trying to figure out like. I don't know. It's not like an objectively like this is going too hard or going too soft. Like it, I'm just wondering because some of the sounds, and I think maybe the kick drum is probably the biggest thing, is that it just seems like such a hard like electro kick drum. It kind of doesn't stick out as much once the other elements come in because it's surrounded with other like-minded individuals, if you will. Like all the drums kind of sound like they're cohesive and they fit together. But when it drops with just the kick drum, it just seems like I'm just like, holy fuck, that drummer's really stepping on the kick pedal. How aggressive is the master on Into the Light? I don't remember. Why do you think that would be like a good kind of level for mastering for this? I don't even know if I can find it. Oh, Into the Light stems. I don't want the stems though. I just have all the fucking stems. Yeah. Anyway, it's something to think about. Best one you'd have on hand. Yeah. I don't know. I also kind of think that even though the chord progression is doing a lot of heavy lifting, like in terms of the melody, I still kind of feel like it is missing something. And I know that you said vocals would be vocals, or you thought vocals would fit. I feel like vocals might be hard to fit in some of these sections because of how hard it is kind of pushed. But I do feel like it is missing like that. It's almost like the chord progression is so good that it's making up for kind of the lack of maybe a main melodic element. But I wonder if a main melodic element would take it up another level, you know? Because like even this synth that comes in, it's not really a melody. It's kind of like a single note following the chord progression. It's not playing off of the chords per se. It's almost just like you're like picking one note in each chord and like playing it. It is good though. Like I'm not, it just doesn't stick out to me as like, oh, that's that's the melody. It just feels like a layer to the chords to me. But then again, the chords are kind of doing the melody. So it's an interesting track because I almost want to dislike it more than I do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm almost like, man, it needs a lead, like it needs a lead, but then I'm like, well, does it though? I'm kind of enjoying these chords. Like a counter melody or something, like something that doesn't do the dotted eighth note pattern that the chords are doing, something that plays off of it and is complementary but not the same as the chords. You know what? You know what's crazy, and man, I really hope that this isn't insulting, but this sounds like perfect background music for like TV. Like this is exactly what CTV wants me to make, is this stuff. It doesn't have anything that gets in the way of like dialogue or and the way that I would always think about it is when I was making the music, because I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs for CTV, and I would always think of like, okay, if this is being played underneath a show where there's somebody talking, the person talking is the main element of the song, and now my song is just there to back them up, you know. Yeah, and it's not. I'm not trying to take away from the value of this. I'm just saying that like the fact that it doesn't have a real major lead in your face, this is the melody. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I wonder if I can. I wonder if my keyboard. First of all, wonder if my keyboard's gonna work. Second of all, I wonder how bad the latency is. This project file is like almost 4 years old, I think, at this point. So it's grown to epic proportions. Oh, okay, my keyboard works. The latency is terrible. Okay, let me turn your track down a minute. A minute? That's not a unit of loudness. And then go back to the synth for a sec. Just to, I don't know, fuck around. What fucking key is it in? And then you know how you have that cool chord change. The melody could play into that and could play like it could resolve in an interesting way. None of that was good or anything, but like you know, like I don't know, just whip out a fucking keyboard and start fucking around. And yeah, C can be challenging, but I think you've done a good job at everything. I just think like whip out a keyboard and try to play something that like doesn't just follow the chord progression. It plays off of it. It's a response to it, you know, it's a counter melody. But yeah, I really like the chord progression. I like the production. I do wonder if it's kind of on the fence as far as like how aggressive it is. But I like everything about it. I just wish that it had like a melody. I didn't grab it. I'll listen to a very small amount of it because it's getting late and I still have some songs to go through. But I will make an exception and I will skim through this Fred remix, where and how far? Okay, it is called Mekli. How do you say that? MKLY. I don't know. This is very Fred. I like the arpeggio thing. This is sick. I really like this. I think the sub bass is maybe a little quiet, but which I think I did yours. Yes, the Cloudy Underworld one. Yeah. I wonder. I wonder if I'm only thinking that the sub is a bit weak is because that first note is like an octave up, and that maybe is because of the key of the song. But boom, boom, boom isn't really like a super deep note, and maybe that's okay. Yeah, this is sick, dude. I think this is very funky. Will we ever see good Rayhem take over from evil? No, I don't think that that's possible. Okay, let's move on. We got Foison. This is the one with the VCV rack thing. What is the VCV rack thing? What is it? So was this all made on like a rack thing? What? It's a rack thing. What's wrong with calling it a rack thing? Software mod. Okay, so it's like a software version of a Euro rack kind of thing. one of those synth contraptions. This is cool. It kind of sounds a little 9 Inch Nailsy. I kind of feel like there's this, I'm on the fence with it. I kind of like it in some ways, but I almost would like to see what it sounded like without it. There's like a sizzly high frequency. I can't tell if it's like a weird reverb tail off of the hi-hats or... No, because it kind of swells up. Rent Tresner. That's pretty funny. Yeah, there's like a crispiness, and I'm kind of like, do I like it or not? I can't quite tell. I also agree that the key is a little interpreted. Like I think it has to do with that kind of the FM kind of mallet sound, where the fact that it's like an FM sound, there's some dissonance in it anyway. Like the bell kind of sound. Something sort of key. Yeah, I think what it is, it's like that FM sound, you know. There's part of what makes a bell sound like a bell is the fact that there's a lot of dissonance involved. You know, if it wasn't dissonant and kind of out of tune sounding, it wouldn't sound like a bell. So I wonder if that's probably what it is. I think it's a cool start. I think the idea is cool. It's very atmospheric. There's lots of interesting sounds happening, and I'm still not sure about that sizzly stuff on the... Like, maybe I'm okay with the one that swells, but the one that's just it kind of sounds like there's just a sizzle over the whole track, and then every once in a while the sizzle swells up. But then over the rest of the track, there's still... To me, it sounds like a hi-hat has like a really quick delay or like a reverb or something on it. I would maybe experiment with that because I like the sizzle in some parts, but just having it kind of carpet bombed over the whole thing. The fizzly stuff is its own thing. Okay, so like I think the fizzly stuff is cool to play with, but I don't know if I'd have it over the whole thing because it just kind of adds like almost like it sounds like there's some just distortion on the track in general or something. It doesn't necessarily sound very intentional, but I like the swell that happens at the end of like every bar or whatever. Anyway, it's cool. I think the thing that's holding this back is like the drums I like the drums, how they kind of just sound like a drum machine set of drums, but I feel like they need to be like glitched out, or there needs to be some like more interesting like things happening. The drums just kind of are like hat, 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 the whole time. And I think that it could be more exciting if you kind of like threw in if you switch the drums up and did some like kind of IDM sort of things with, like glitchy, like fast cuts and stuff like that. I think that could be cool. But overall, I think it's cool that you're using this, you're challenging yourself to use this tool that can provide great results, but it's certainly not a user-friendly way of making music. Cause I've messed around with that sort of thing too. And it's a lot of fun, but it certainly is like, you got to work for it. So I appreciate that. Okay, this one's called Racer 61. Okay. This kind of sounds like early Crystal Method. I disagree, Rayham. I think all of the filtery kind of synth things is very Crystal Method. Massive Attack don't really use a lot of like crazy synth stuff. Their stuff is a lot more organic, I find. Crystal Method is very like, check out the filter on this weird synth from Slatvia. Don't know if that's a real country. You know what else it kind of reminds me of is like keygen music. Not the chiptune keygen music, but like after the chiptune keygen music, every once in a while. And mind you, I haven't used a key generator in probably fucking 20 years, but there was similar stuff to this. It was kind of like the newer kind of keygen music. Yeah, I mean, like, this is a very well executed 90s. I have a room entirely filled with synthesizers and a sequencer. And here is my song that's vaguely, like, I'm not quite sure musically necessarily what's going on at any point in time, but it's all musically solid, but there's no clear kind of chord progression. It kind of is just like a experimentation into sounds that are all orbiting a key of some sort. And I like it. If I had to nitpick, I wonder what would happen if you tuned the kick drum. I don't, maybe it wouldn't be as good. Maybe it would be worse with the kick drum tuned to the key of the song. But I just noticed that after like the basses and stuff kind of dissipate and we're left with just the kick drum that's playing like a kind of a random note that I think is maybe like, I don't know, a few semitones sharp of the root of the song. So like, let's figure out what that is. It's I guessed right. It's D. Okay, so the key of the song is in D. Now let me find a section with the kick drum by itself, kind of, maybe like right here. Doom doom doom. Okay, the kick drum is playing in A, and the key of the song is D. Yeah. So like maybe it works because A is the perfect fifth of D, I think, but I just wonder what it would be like if the kick drum was playing the D. I think it's worth trying. And I'm playing the doohickey. Yeah, it's just the easiest. It doesn't have latency, so I use it to find notes. Anyway, yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, the rest of it's very nostalgic, very kind of period correct. I would just try tuning the kick drum to D and see what it sounds like. It might sound way better. And it also might sound worse. So keep that in mind. Okay, cool. Thanks for sending. Okay, this one is Holzer. I in-eed you. Is that a typo or is that how it's supposed to be?
May I please have this dance? This is where opportunity meets chance, where purpose meets a plan.
I kind of feel like it needs to be in-eed you now. Okay, we got some crunchy click there. I'm not sure if that clipping is intentional. There was another
Dance.
maybe that's like from like a vinyl crackle or something, but anyway, let's keep going.
This is a new life, a new way, a new possibility, a new day. So, may I please have this dance?
Yeah, okay, so like it's definitely hot on the master, and I think that you gotta sort that out. But I mean that's pretty basic, you know. I think it's just too loud. I would say something went wrong in the render. This drop is sick, but like there's something wrong with how loud it is and how hard it's clipping. So I think that this drop is sick. I think that you need to figure out what went wrong when you rendered it. Because that goes hard, but it goes a little too hard into the clipping. And yeah, I would check that out. You sent a better version. Where did you send it? Oh, okay. Oh, you spelt it wrong this time, though. All right, let me try the one that you just sent. And let's see if it's... I don't... It looks just as loud. Let's... I like it. I like it. It's missing highs because what I mean, like what's the bit rate? Because look at the waveform on the wave candy on the spectrum. Yeah, it's a 192. So I mean, like, 192 might not be that might not be the reason why it needs high ends. But I think the drop is. I think it's a sick direction. You sent another one. Version 7. Okay, well that should be 4 versions better.
Please don't hate me.
That's the intro.
Chance. A new possibility. May I
So you're still clipping on the piano. So to me, here's what I think. I think that this drop section is a really cool direction. I think that it goes really hard. Let me listen to the last little bit. I think what you need to do now is not work on the drop anymore. I think that, and I'm just going out on a limb here, but I think that you have spent the majority of your time making this drop sound as sick as you can, and you did a good job at that. But now you have to make a song, because a good drop is not worth anything if it's not in a song, right? So I would put a Geneva Convention ban on any more work on the drop and write the rest of the song. Even if it's super basic and you just kind of, okay, the drop goes twice as long, then I have, like, here's a little placeholder for a breakdown, here's a placeholder for a build up, here's the next 2 drops, you know, here's like a little cool little breaks, like bridge section, and then that goes into a build up, and then here's a drop and a drop. Okay, now I have a structure, right? You have the bones of the structure, and I'm saying, like, this section you could just straight up have like a fucking hip hop beat going, or whatever you think the style is going to be. You could have a hip hop beat going for 16 bars, and then you could have the same hip hop beat going for another 16 bars, but now it has a riser effect on it, just to get you out of working on the drop, because I know how it goes, and I know that the drop is the most exciting thing to do, and when you're getting it right, you're like, I just want to keep fucking working on this because it's so good. But you got to make the rest of the song. Shock factor, super chill. Yeah, sure, that's fine. But I think that I think that you got to do that, because yes, you had a very gentle, although the clipping on the piano is kind of no, the queue is closed. Sorry, I'm all filled up for today, but I'll be here next Friday as well. Anyway, yeah, I think that yes, you got an idea going. I don't love the intro. It's just kind of like, I kind of feel like I'm just waiting for like the drop, you know. So I think it's a good start. I think the atmosphere is there, but in my head I can very clearly play back the bang. Like I can play the drop sound in my head, but if I think back to the intro, it's just kind of like a amorphous cloud of question marks. I don't really remember what it sounded like, because it was almost just pure atmosphere, right? So I think that, yes, the atmosphere is cool, and yes, it sets up the vibe of the song, but like, get a beat, like a hip hop beat in there, something crunchy, something lo-fi, shitty sound, get something weird, like create some rhythm so that I feel like we're moving towards something, instead of just having these sparse atmospheric things, which can work in some situations. But if you want people to feel like they're like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Yes, you want the shock factor, but you gotta get the track moving a little bit more, right? With like even just a hip hop beat on, and maybe you already have. Maybe I don't remember what the intro sounds like, but
a new possibility? May I
yeah, okay, like yeah, you got some like jazz piano stuff going on, and that's cool. But like at a certain point, I probably would have again like some sort of lo-fi. Yeah, boom bap. Yeah. Oh, but you're not a fan of it. Okay. Well, then don't do it. Do a more kind of IDM thing with some glitchy shit, or maybe not boom bap, maybe a different style of hip hop, or just, I don't know. It needs you need to like start building the pace up. You can still get the shock factor with having like, a beat before it, you know? You don't have to go from pure piano. And maybe you can do this. I'm just saying from my point of view, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but more me being in my head. Well, not necessarily. Maybe you just straight up didn't like the boom bap on it, or maybe you didn't like that specific boom bap beat or whatever. Boom bap beat is pretty cool to say. It's fun to say with your mouth. Anyway, I would, yeah, at any rate, stop working on the drop. You can work on it again, but like first you got to at least get a structure of a song, not just intro, drop, and that's it, right? Okay, cool. Okay, this one is called, I think this is the last one. No, wait, sorry. No, I think that was that was the last one. Oh, okay. I'm dumb. Well, I've been streaming for over 3 hours, so. Okay, that's it for today. This is me full screen for absolutely no reason. I love you all. I hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.